Nerds. It's Daniele here. And I have the creator of Halloween Girl, Volume 1, Promises to Keep, Richard T. Wilson, here to talk with you all. So
Hey,
welcome to
Dana.
Project Nerd.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank
Hey,
you very much.
why don't you just tell us a little bit about the project?
Well, it's based on characters that we created in our web series Under the Flowers, and which came out of a film that I made a couple years ago called The Halloween Girl. And I kind of grew frustrated not being able to fit everything in those short little films and web series. And I said, I kept trying to get somebody else to do a graphic novel. I said, hey, these are really good. Somebody should do this. And then finally I said, I guess I'm going to do it. And I'd never done it before. I'd just been a fan for many years. And I kind of dove in and I had never been happier in my life. I have to tell you, I never had more fun writing anything in my entire life.
What was it about graphic novels that you even decided to go in that medium?
I think they're basically close cousins to film, and I've been doing film my whole career for many years. Mostly made my living making educational films through our company, Outreach Arts, and I've always been a fan of graphic novels. And just kind of like a very pedestrian kind of like, oh yeah, let me check that out. But then I got to be more and more of a fan as we were kind of winding up the work with the educational company. And it was almost all coming back to me. And I was like, and I started to influence my writing for the series. And I just said, there's so many stories I want to tell that I can't tell. And quite frankly, even somebody who had a big budget, I don't think they could tell it very well. I just think the medium, I love what only the medium can do. Just I love art, period, any art. And I just love the way it can take you anywhere and do anything. And I don't think I'm not a big fan of a lot of comic adaptations because I think it loses something in the translation, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many special effects, there's an intimacy that you miss. And I really thought this could work. And I had a ball. I'm having a ball. I'm not stopping. I'm still writing all these books. So, that's what I love about the medium. I just love the way it's immediate. There's a lot of action and just a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, seeing you talk about it, like I'm really seeing the passion and the energy come
oh
out.
yeah,
And so that's really exciting to hear
thank
from
you.
my end, just how much fun you had. So what was fun about, the graphic novel versus making the web series or the movie?
It's funny because I get to be all of me in the graphic novel. That's what I
Hmm.
discovered as I was going along. I said, "Oh wow, this is great because it's like I don't have to slice off this part of you, that part of you, this part of you know what I mean? It was like I got to tell jokes. I got to have a good time. Everything didn't have to be dark intensity all the time. And I'm so used to doing that with the work that I'd done for years, which was basically mental health awareness and all that. It was pretty intense work. And even when we got into doing Mad Shelley films with the Halloween Girl and Under the Flowers, sure, it's more me, but I had to squeeze in all this stuff. It was all truncated me. You know what I mean? This is like I get to just kind of spread out and just
Hmm.
be myself and enjoy myself. I get more joy from this than anything else I've ever done. And it's strange that it's happening at this point in my life, but I just kind of stumbled into it, and I just love it. I found a great artist,
Yeah,
so that makes it.
yeah. So I do have a question about the process.
Sure.
So do you sketch out sort of what you'd like to see in the book, and the artist takes your concepts and sort of realizes them, or like how does that work?
I write a whole script, everything, just like I would a film, just in the graphic novel format. I always make tons of notes before I ever dive into a script, so that goes on for quite a while, uh, a couple months or whatever, and then I'll really dive in and do it. Um, and then he takes it, and I look at it this way, and I felt this way about any actors that I've hired, any crew members in the past that we've hired for films. I feel the same way about Stephen Mullen. He's awesome. Um, do your thing, man. I chose you to work with because I love you, and you do beautiful work, and these are just suggestions. But Stephen's very respectful, and I'll say, I want to change this one little thing. Is that okay? Is that cool? Yeah, do it. I mean, so he's a great partner, and he just has. I try to a couple people to try and find somebody who would kind of match up to what I was looking for. And when I found him, I went, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And he's,
Yeah.
he's youthful. He's got all this enthusiasm, and he also has a love of the type of work I really like.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, that's awesome. So how did you find him?
I found him on Fiverr. Uh, uh, a buddy of mine who I've worked with for many years, Kevin McElroy, does all this great graphic stuff as well. He said to me a couple of years ago, "Yeah, I've been working out some concepts, finding some people on Fiverr to flesh them out." And he showed them to us. I said, "Wow, this is great. I had never heard of Fiverr up until."
Mhm.
And he's in advertising. He knows, he's always on top of all that stuff. And I said, "I'm going to give it a shot." So I went through and tried a couple people, and they did really nice work. And I was determined I was very focused on finding a female artist. I wanted a female artist to do this. So I looked for female artists, and they were great. But Stephen actually was closer to the softness that I
Mhm.
was looking for. Like I wanted to do something that was like the old black and white classic comics from the early 70s and things like that, but not as harsh. I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to be softer.
Mhm.
And the women that I had tried to, I kind of auditioned for the thing. I said, oh, this is really good, but it was a little too fierce. You know what I mean? Like, and I wanted just kind of it's a very emotional book, and I wanted that to come through in the frame. I wanted that to be seen in Charlotte, and Stephen nailed it right away. He had that great kind of like softness, and also the sharpness, but it was a good balance, and that's why I went with him. So that's why I chose Stephen. But that wasn't my original intention. I said, oh, I want a woman to do this book, but he just came along and it was perfect. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And okay, so I don't know what Fiverr is. So do you mind sharing what
oh,
what
it's
that
just where
is?
you find other artists who are all from all over the world who are interested in doing gig work, and that's how it started.
Cool.
A
Okay.
lot of great, really talented
Awesome.
people on there.
Cool. So in terms of just the Halloween girl concept, how
Mhm.
did you come up with that idea?
That whole thing was born out of grief, really, because I had been doing, as I said, my educational films, getting a lot of you know satisfaction out of helping people for many, 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 many years. I mean, I started doing that kind of work in the theater. Towards the end of it, I lost both my parents a couple months apart, and I remember sitting in the backyard with my wife, just and saying, you know, I want to do something that's not our usual thing, and just something for myself. And that was a big deal because I was always, very focused on what I did, my work, and that was all I was going to do, nothing else. That was enough. I was glad to have the gig. I was glad, and I didn't need anything more, but I really had a need to do something. And I wrote The Halloween Girl after my mom passed away. And, it was very cathartic. And I
Hmm.
look back on it now and I see things that I didn't even see when I put it together. So, worked through a lot of things,
Yeah.
with that. And I figured it would be a one shot, but it did really well. People really liked it. We got screenings in, Hollywood and all that kind of cool stuff at indie film festivals. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is fun. But I figured that would be it. I got my thing out and that was good. And then Charlotte, the main character, the Halloween girl, just kept at me, kind of like, with other ideas. And I said, okay. And then more ideas came. And then she's got friends. She's got Poe. She's got all these other people. And I had to write another thing. And I said, I'm going to write this web series called Under the Flowers. And that just opened up. And I was just diving in. And it was kind of a real big transitional time into my life because the work that I've been doing forever was winding up. I was getting burnt out. It was a lot of,
Hmm.
like I said, emotional work. And I really had no idea where I was going. I was like, I just know I have to do this. And that's where the character came from. We did 3 seasons of that. They were very well received. And, but again, I felt I'm squeezing all this story into like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like and I felt like I'd taken it as far as I could. I even wrote a final season, which never got made. The pandemic came along and I was just like, yeah, we're not doing this. And besides, I thought I'm going to keep some of these ideas because I want to do this graphic novel. And there's some kernels of things in there that I might use later, you know. But when I got into writing the graphic novels, really, because I'm on my third now,
Wow.
I was just that's all I wanted to do. You know, I mean, I had a gig teaching and all that, and I was just kind of like, you know, I kind of think I'm just going to focus on this, and that's what I've been diving into now since. But she's very, her and Poe are very compelling to me. I feel like it's me cut in half, you know, and I really feel like I get to do the supernatural adventure thing. It's about friends. They have fun. There's a lot of joy, but there's also all this darkness. There's very heavy issues, very philosophical things, spiritual things happening, you know, lots of darkness with the hollow, the evil sect that they're battling, you know, and all that stuff. But it's just so
Mhm.
much damn fun. I just, you know, and I love the work that I used to do, but I never got the kind of joy that I get out of writing this. I love these guys and I just
Yeah.
want to hang out with them all the time, you know.
I mean, I can relate to that as you were speaking, just thinking about my own creative pursuits. But one thing that I was told early on is that art can be therapeutic,
Yes.
but it's not therapy. But it does
No.
help you like process a lot of things. Or
Right.
when I'm doing art, like I feel like it's my truest self. Like my anxiety
Right.
goes away, or all my worries go away, and I'm just really focused on the art. So I can definitely relate to the fact that it just, again, hearing you talk about it, I can just feel the joy radiating. And so that's just awesome. And I'm so glad that you found this and that you're creating this for others because, I'm sure they appreciate it as well.
It seems that way. I mean, it's still only been out for the first issue's out for you know. I've been working on this for so long. It feels funny to be, you know, the first issue is only just out now, but people are really responding to it. I'm very, you know, it's very nice. It's kind of, you know, to see people, you know, digging it. And I will say, just as a side note, like you said, art isn't therapy, you know, but it has therapeutic, you know. And man,
Mhm.
I've leaned on this pretty much my whole life. But I will say, it's, you know, I leaned on it a little too much, to be honest with you, you know, until I realized I couldn't do that anymore. But anyway, yeah, it's really, it's nice that people are, it's nice that people are enjoying it in the way that it was meant to be enjoyed, I guess, because you never know. You put these concepts out, and it's like, is anybody going to get this? You know what I
Right.
mean? Is anybody going to have fun? I'm having fun, but are they going to have fun? And I have to tell you, seeing people have fun with it, that really like that makes me so happy because it's like, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's just nice that people are laughing too and having, you know, getting the humor and things like that. So, you know, that was really important to me. And I thought, oh, I hope people, you know, hope people have a good time with it. Not, you know, what's this? What does this mean? Just have fun. Have fun. You know, there's a lot of heavy
Yeah.
things going on it, but we can also have fun.
But I do like to think if you're having fun making it, like that will translate to the audience and they'll have fun too. But if you're not having fun,
Right.
the audience will read that as well. So,
Right. Yeah. And
mhm.
I, it's funny because the first book, Promises to Keep, it was just you know, it was a great like ride all the way through, and there were great things happening and personal things happening too. By the second book, Gods and Monsters, which I finished a couple months ago, I was dealing with the pandemic and everything. It hit me late. I was one of those people that earlier this year it all just kind of came down like a house of cards. I mean, it was been a horrible year for me processing all this stuff. It's been awful, you know, but all these things have
I'm
come out of
sorry to
it. Yeah, yeah, it hit me really hard, but I was like telling everybody everything's going to be fine for a year, and then suddenly it was just like, oh no, you know. So it
Right.
opened up a lot of things, but I will tell you, there's a lot more horror in the second volume. You know, it was talk about therapeutic. You know, there was a lot of things, and even in the third one that I'm writing now, it's a little bit lighter, but there's a lot more. I even addressed the pandemic in the third one called Seasons
Wow.
of the Witch. So, but yeah, so there's a we start off kind of light with the first issue, but it gets into the horror pretty quickly. The second issue, we get into what, you know, what it's really about. And I just think I feel like the hollow represents basically what we're going through now. People trying to hollow out people's souls, you know what I mean, and try and take away hope for
Mhm.
people. And that's what they're Charlotte and Poe, and that's what they're battling against, to save Crystal Springs, to save maybe the world, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really what it's about. So, and just to see the fact that it could take all these different forms. Charlotte sees these hollow creatures like as giant spiders. She's got a thing with spiders. Other people see their family members. Other people see
Mhm.
this. They see different things. So, we show them being torn up psychologically in the second issue, which is coming hopefully the end of the year.
Got
Um, so, but it's about working through that stuff, and also, we can do this, being heroic, and not giving up on joy. And I think I keep using that word a lot, but that's you gotta. You, there's hope. I know I'm addressing the darkness that we're living through, but at the same time, we can't forget. You know, there's a way out.
Right.
So that's and and let's have some fun where we can have some fun.
Right. Yeah, and that having fun, I think, contributes to the hope because it awakens it can awaken that positive side of you
Right.
so. And
Right.
what I like about fantasy and sci-fi and horror just as genres is that they can serve as allegories for what's going
Yes.
on in the real world or commentary on society. So I'm really excited to read your novels because I think they'll be very relevant for what's going on today.
Thank you. It's funny because you said allegory, which is like one of my favorite words of all time. It's like that's what got me into this. That's what got me into this as a little kid.
Oh, wow.
Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes film. Saw it on TV, blown away.
Hmm.
Like I knew they were talking about things that my parents would be watching on the news. I was little, but I got it.
Yep.
And that's what started me off. And I started to write stories when I was 10, but it's because of that film, because of real great allegory. Um, Rod Serling and Michael Wilson's adaptation, of the novel just blew me away as a kid. I just love it, and I became a really big fan of sci-fi and horror that had something to say. And for a long time, it didn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
We're now back in an era, which is terrific. There are some films out there that really have a lot to say and a lot of really, really great commentary on what's happening, and which the older films used to do too. But
Right.
that went away for a very long time, and I'm so glad to have it back.
Yeah. One
Go
of
ahead.
my favorite recent series that has come out was The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor on
I
Netflix.
know.
And I really
Right.
liked both of those series because it felt like the horror elements were really just used to, move the character's grief
Right.
forward or,
Right.
and so it's for me, I like it when it's rooted in a bit of reality personally because
Right.
it's grounded in that way. So,
Right.
yeah, I
Did
just
you see
love
the new one? Did you see the new one? Midnight
not
Mass is what it is?
it's the one about
Getting
the priest. What is that called?
I just
My
my buddy was telling
friends
me about it the other
love it.
day. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody,
same.
all my Twitter friends are like, "You gotta watch this, Richard," So it's on my
Yeah.
list actually to see. So
Well, let's plug your graphic novel. Where can our viewers find it?
you can find it right now on Amazon Prime, Amazon Kindle rather. And that's where we started, just digital downloads for that. And that's it. And that's the only place we have it right now, just on Amazon Kindle. Obviously, you can watch it on read it on your iPad or Kindle, your phone, whatever. So your computer. So it works on all those things. So please buy it. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, it's called Halloween Girl, Volume 1, Promises to Keep.
Yes, it
But
is.
thank you so much, Richard, for
Thank you,
joining
Dan. This
us.
was
And
fun.
yeah, this was so fun. And for everyone out there, please buy the book.